Hi there. I'm Nadira Jamal, hostess of the Belly Dance Geek Clubhouse online radio show. Welcome to this special interview series with some of the instructors from the 2015 Las Vegas Belly Dance Intensive. The intensive is now in its final year and will be held for the last time on September 10th through 13th at the Flamingo Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. To make sure that you don't miss out on this epic event, visit bellydanceintensive.com. My guest today is Annette Federico, who will be teaching Vintage American Cabaret workshop. Annette is a dancer and teacher based in Central California who has been doing this for close to 20 years. She specializes in what is now called vintage cabaret style, the multi-part routine with zills, a bedla, big skirts, and bare feet. You can check her out at bellydancingbyannette.com, and that's Annette spelled Annette. Thanks for joining me, Annette.
Well, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about the workshop that you're teaching at the intensive?
Yes. I really love this workshop. I first taught it a few years ago in Virginia. I didn't realize that I was something, worthy of being called vintage or retro. I prefer classic myself. But apparently there was quite a bit of interest in what we call American cabaret style, which is now called vintage cabaret, but it's a workshop to acquaint dancers who are not familiar with it and who don't practice it and perform it. It's a workshop to acquaint them with a little bit of the history, how it came to be, how it started, who started it, why we do what we do, where the multi-part routine came from, what is the multi-part routine, what are the parts, and the things that make it just so wonderful and entertaining, that it is a solo kind of performance, that finger cymbals are an integral part of it, that you have your greeting dance, your veil, your drum, your taksim, sometimes there's a floor, sometimes there's a second fast section, there's a finale, and for me, because I've been doing this for a long time, I've danced in restaurants for a very long time, and out here in Central California, we have an ethnic community, a fantastic ethnic community. Lots of people from the Middle East, lots of Armenians in Fresno, and Persians, and people from Egypt, and people from Yemen, and Lebanese people, everyone you can imagine, and they really love that style of dance. They love the finger cymbals. They love the music. Oh, and the music is another huge part of this style. And so I'll talk a little bit about the music. The dancers will be given some material about the music. John Bilzekjian, who is our great treasure out in California, whom we just lost, Eddie Kochak, George Abdo, and then also to bring it into the 21st century, I use a lot of popular music as well. You can construct a cabaret routine using popular music.
Mm. Now, and this is a style that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, there is something else. I'll work on a combination, some improvising, some techniques for that, since most of this is freestyle. Most of it's improvised, because when you're in a setting with people, sometimes you have to wing it just because you're there for them. Hospitality is a big part of this kind of dance. And if somebody wants to get up and dance with you or have you take a picture or come over here, you have to be open to that, because you are there for them. You are there for your customers, for your patrons.
I think that's something that really gets lost these days, especially now that there are fewer venues that there used to be in a lot of areas. And so a lot of the time we're dancing for other dancers or dancing in more formal staged things rather than, parties and nightclubs and restaurants. And I think it is really easy to forget that we're not there presenting our piece. We're there to make sure everybody has a good time. That's our job.
I'm so happy you brought that up. I really, really am happy you brought that up. That's a huge part of it for me, and it has been a tremendous gift to my heart in all the years I've been doing this. I've been dancing in restaurants. I'm something of a, around these parts, I had a restaurant gig every single Friday night for 10 years. Now I still have a restaurant gig, but it's twice a month instead of every single Friday. But it's been an honor and a real blessing to my heart and my dancer life that I've been a part of so many fantastic celebrations that people celebrate it. And like, I've been invited to people's homes. Of course, that's part of our job, is we go to people's homes and dance parties. But even coming to my restaurants where I've danced, and they come and they celebrate these milestones in their lives, and you're in their pictures and you meet their families, and it's a tremendous blessing, and you cannot forget. Really, that's why you have this gift. It's to share.
And that's where the dance comes from. I mean, we've only had actual formal staged shows for maybe 100 years.
Thank you.
Everything before that was in this Annette party.
Yes. A party, very much so.
Yeah.
And I think
I was raised in... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm here to interview you, so you please continue.
I was just to say that, I might have forgotten where I was going with that. I think it had something to do with music. That music is, that was it. And when you're talking about the music, okay, you brought up an important point that the stage, the formal presentation, has only been a part very recently. You know, the musicians I mentioned earlier, especially John Belazikjian, because he's Armenian and he sings in Armenian. We have a lot of Greek people out here too, and bless his heart, he has always sung in this panoply of languages. They'll sing along. If you're dancing to Jemila, you're dancing to Sawa, you're dancing to what's the other one that was so popular the other day? Yagamil. They'll sing. They will sing along with you, because those are the kind of people that we have here. Really part of their culture, and they're part of their happiness. You know.
Mm-hmm. Now, if somebody was brought up in a different dance tradition, say, they were brought up in this modern Egyptian context, or in something other than American cabaret, why do you think it's useful for them to get a taste of this?
Because, the one thing I always learned in my training was that cabaret dancers, we steal from every other discipline. So modern Egyptian dance has beautiful technique and incredible discipline. So what you have is going to only help you. It's another jewel in your crown. And I also think that this workshop is going to be helpful for anyone who wishes to hone her skills as a soloist. And I believe it's also would be helpful if you're just curious about American cabaret, and maybe when you leave the workshop, you leave the intensive, you go back home, maybe you're going to be inspired to get a job dancing at a restaurant, and I hope so. Because I know people say, I like to dance on a stage, I want to rehearse, I want to do my thing, but I think, and I appreciate that, because for me, that came later in my career, and that was a challenge for me. But I think anybody who doesn't have the experience of dancing so close to people is really missing out. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to spread the word,
Absolutely. And I think that even if, the aesthetics that appeal to you are not necessarily what's being done in American cabaret, I think that a lot of the things that you've brought up, like, really interacting with people or constructing a routine in a way to make sure that it's entertaining, I think a lot of those could be applied to any style of dance. This is the same style that I was raised in, so I have a little bit more background in this than a lot of people. But
also, if you've never been, and this is why I was hoping to put it out there and say, if you're curious about American cabaret, maybe you've never been exposed to it. Come on, check it out. Mm-hmm. We know how cool it is.
Absolutely. But even if you're one of those people who say I do Egyptian and only Egyptian, you can take a lot of the lessons that you learn.
Oh, yes,
from
absolutely.
the standard structure to make your dance more entertaining, even if you stick with strictly Egyptian music and strictly Egyptian aesthetics.
Absolutely. And so I'm hoping that I will get some of those dancers who are curious about it, or who maybe want to, there's a component of improvisation. So I'm going to teach a little an opening combination, but I'm also going to work with the dancers on how do you fix this? How do you change this? what if you don't like doing that? Well, what else can you do in this spot? And when the music is making this kind of riff, what are some other things you can do here? So, because improvisation is, that's what I love. I start with really knowing my music really very, very well, and then, interpreting it with my vocabulary of move, my move language.
So who would you say that this workshop is most appropriate for or least appropriate for?
I would say it's appropriate for everyone who is interested in learning about this style. And if you are interested maybe not so much in this style, but you want to work on your skills of improvisation, or you want to work on your zills some, maybe you don't play with zills, so you want to want to practice with them, because zills are that's one of the reasons I started doing this, because I love finger cymbals. And then also if you want to work on some veil, and so that would be, and also if you just want to work on a solo, if you're a person maybe who does tribal, who only dances with a troupe, and you want to work on your solo chops, this would be good. I think if you're not interested in that, of course, then it's not for you. I mean, I think if you're really heavily into tribal dance, you're not going to like this. So, did I answer the question there?
Absolutely. And what made you decide to offer this for the intensive specifically?
Okay, wait, I'm going to backtrack one more time. Your level, beginning level up through advanced level, this would work for you too. What made me decide to offer it? This is something that I feel very, very strongly about. I mean, this is what I've done. And then in the last few years, I've noticed that people have been getting away from it. I'd go to a dance festival, and I'd be one of the two women who'd be playing zills and doing a multi-part routine. So my friend from the East Coast who sponsored me to go back east, she was the one. She's an Egyptian dancer who had a little bit of experience in cabaret, and she said, you need to put this together and come back and give a little background and teach this workshop. So I've taught it a couple of times back on the East Coast because I feel like in Central California we might be behind the curve of the trends in other parts of California as far as dance. Modern Egyptian's big now. Belly Dance Superstars, all that is big. Tribal is huge. I feel like I've got to carry this torch. They're going to put me in my grave. I'm going to be playing my finger cymbals, wearing a two-piece costume and big skirts. So that's why I'm passionate about it. There.
Mm-hmm. And is there one tip from your session that you can share with our listeners now that they could start using?
Let's see, something from my session that we can share with listeners now that you could start using. Explore the notion, if it's unfamiliar to you, explore the notion of, think about dancing for 25 or 30 minutes, maybe, if that's something that's not part of your regimen, your dance life. Think about dancing for 25 or 30 minutes. Think about telling the story. What's the art? Oh, that's the other thing about American Cabaret that I did fail to mention. I was really attracted to the drama of it, the theater of it, because I have a drama background. Think about the arc of your story. Just think about it. You come out here with your greeting dance. You get people involved. You take them. You into your more introspective, intimate parts with your veil. You go to your drum solo. You just think about the arc of your story and consider going for 25 minutes. Even though most times on a festival stage you only get 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 minutes.
And it's such a different experience when you have a longer set because you really have time to make that connection. You don't have to kind of get into the whiz-bang, here's everything I know in 5 minutes.
Absolutely. You are absolutely right. you almost get to cultivate a little relationship, a little friendship with your audience. Oh, and one more thing I would say to answer that question, go find your finger symbols. Go find them. If you can't find them, go buy some because they're beautiful.
Absolutely. And what are you the most excited about for this year's intensive?
Oh, I think going. I could ask my husband. I must have screamed for 5 minutes. I'm so excited to go and work with people from other places and spread the word. I'm so excited. I'm so honored. I'm sad that it's going to be the last one, but I'm very honored to be a part of the team this year, and I'm very excited about being invited. So I'm still there. You know, it's like I'm still pinching myself.
Well, thank you for joining me, Annette.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
And thank you, everybody, for listening. If you'd like to learn more from Annette, you can check her out at bellydancingbyannette.com. Or better yet, join us at the intensive. This is the last time that this event is going to be held, so don't miss out. You can register at bellydanceintensive.com. And to listen to more interviews with our fabulous instructors, visit bellydancegeek.com/Vegas 2015.